Hi, I'm John of Nornware, and this is Space Beast Terror Fright Task Triage Part 11, I think. Yeah. In-game pause when lots of moisture is dripping seems to be buggy. Well, that's just a bug then. This is starting to get unwieldy. It's unwieldy. Who dares to boo their own... No, stop with that. Lurk seasons. During certain tick intervals quantized, no lurking will happen. This shouldn't be shaking things up in total infestation mode. That might be cool. You know, you think about it. You walk into a room that is like completely saturated with beasts, and they're all lurking, and you see them, and oh wow, look, this room is full of beasts. You know, that won't attack you. You know, unless you get too close or shoot them or something. But according to this idea, it's like all of a sudden, some time passes, and then they stop lurking all at the same time, without you doing anything. That's kind of scary. I really like that idea. That would be pretty cool and not so hard to do. Yeah, let's try it. Compare quad versus diamond flash for flares. Potentially save some fill rate. I like that. Saving fill rate. Wait a second. Where did I... Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. Steam avatar as patch on armor. No promises. Weapon upgrade system. What are you say? What are you say? Progression science, customization. You have a receiver. Right. Number of points to distribute. Excuse me. Am I actually even reading this? Diversification of weapons. I'm going to say probably sequel. Hybrid network means more objects. Maybe it does. We don't know. It could. There are currently some limitations, or some limitations I've imposed when it comes to maxes on things, which some people who really get into the editor have noticed, and that's in the interest of keeping the amount of state that needs to go over the network down. And the idea with the hybrid networking is it's a completely different way of doing synchronization, so which is independent of that kind of state size. It's still interesting to keep it down because there's some copying going on, and but yeah, potentially user map stuff. Maximum enemy counts specify larger number of breaches. Manual breach counts for random. I have to look into my head around where this man's my head. Current limits will reduce along with current network implementation. A lot to be gained by limiting. Yes, that's what I just said. I'm planning on revising network code again. But what? Yeah. Let's look into that along with hybrid related to hybrid. Breach spawn order. Yeah, there is certainly 16 breaches is a hard limit. This may change. Network code again. Believe you're correct in how the game selects breaches to spawn, scanning from the origin with this bottom left. With the legacy randomized maps, this doesn't really come... This didn't really come of as an issue. Yeah, English. But I completely understand this is undesirable for user maps. I would look into changing this to something more properly randomized. Well, I suppose I will. People who know me well in the games industry know that I've been quite interested in the idea of prioritization. And like when you get into this sort of pile of stuff, it needs to be prioritized. It just does. It simply does. And how do you do that? Do you like compare everything to everything? That's bubble sort. And that is, in this case, 260 times 260 decisions, basically, and that's 67,000 plus decisions. That's why it never happens, right? So I did some interesting tool sets, and that's Trio, Prio, the stuff that I've been using before, prioritization, in order to get that number down. And that would be an interesting video to show, actually, this stuff has been ripped out of that system, put in here, I'm triaging it, and then maybe I'll have to put it back in just to be able to deal with it. Because it's just such a recurring thing. Like, how do you even make a reasonable attempt at getting a good ordered to-do list? You know, a lot of people in the software industry say, how do you finish a project? You delete your backlog, and that there's totally a lot of truth to that. But the reason I'm doing this triage is that I'm very interested in, doing a serious job, doing a qualitative job of actually looking at the stuff that I've been thinking of. And once I triage it, the next problem is, how do you prioritize it? Because certainly, I'm not going to do all of this stuff. It's like, maybe I should quit now, but I don't know. I want to at least show the process of this and make sure that nothing that is like a really good idea doesn't, I don't want that to get lost. Yeah. Check that fences get fewer over time in campaign of the week. Yes, that's supposed to happen. I'm sort of afraid that it didn't, apparently. Arg, new menu background needs dimming. Does not, because I fixed that. User faces. Gender other for no face. Also robot names. What? Remove soft mesh. Ooh, yeah, I want to do that. That's technical. Possible 4K issue. Let's say no promises, even though 4K is a thing. Put that into source. Like layout styles, yeah, but that's not super necessary. Buy a Sublime text license. Buy a Sublime merge license. Yes, totally. I really like this editor, and I like Sublime merge too. Who dares to run without a license? Hop between VPBR support and Steam Workshop integrate. Hop between, like jump back and forth between implementations. Well, that is VPR, vaguely physically based rendering is implemented, and Steam Workshop, I decided not to do that. So yes, rank insignia intersects UI in outcome tab. Layout, user interface layout stuff. The horror. Bespoke backend, yes. Hybrid, yes. That's what yes. New Steam library assets. Arg. I should really do it before release, though. Fanatical bundle. No promises, but that's a thing. Characters getting erased. Seems like a bug. Borderless window mode. Yeah, that's the thing. That's also, worth doing an update right now, because I actually think that I have fixed some issues when it comes to that startup hang, which had to do in the code when I finally was able to reproduce it on my new laptop, is what happens with desktop scaling, because you can get into a situation where the game starts and the default start in windowed mode, but that window is actually larger than your desktop. Something like that. Or there's a discrepancy between the back buffer, which is part of the rendering, and the window size. And the code was set up in a way like, if that happens, then it wants to restart and recreate the device. And then it just gets into a loop. So I just straight up disable that code. And apparently, when you Alt Enter to go to full screen and back again, Windows will actually figure out what it needs to do. So I just disabled it, and it seems to be a fix. And that will potentially be huge for the people who are having issues with startup, if that is the case for their systems, which I can't know, and there's lots of permutations. But hopefully it's in the right direction. Editor controls door open state. Yeah, I think I know what that is. That is basically that you can, in the editor, control if the door is open or not, which is currently random. And that, I'm not going to promise that, because that requires me to add more if statements. Yeah, that too. Moving on. More editor wants good ideas. Okay, I'm going to put that as no promises. Quality of life stuff. Let's just triage it. Check out Steam Remote Play Together. Totally not promising that, but I need to be aware of it. Better selection of seed style in editor. It's a question of styles, themes. Yeah, no promises there. What's actually happening in the editor is, like, that's what the seed is for. It will actually select. Yeah, I think it's exposed as a drop down of, like, what style do you want? Do you want Hadley or Nostromo or whatever the ones I'm calling them? Please don't sue me for using those names. It also controls, yes, it controls the styles. It controls what flavor of alien you're getting. There are different color themes there. And it also controls music. And yes, it also actually controls, yeah. The state that is controlling your style is actually the random seed, which is a big thing in the procedural levels, but it doesn't matter in user plans. So that, yeah, no promises. Might look into that. Preview of styles in editor. No promises, but that's a good idea. Power failures cause a desync of adrenaline theme, music theme, because certain tracks are stopped. Just reset the entire thing when power is enabled again. Disable volume, yeah, let's say, yeah, I don't like that. I'm not liking the desync, so yeah, that's a bug. Implement FAF 256 editing in editor to fix certain breach cases. I did. There seem to be bad door placements allowed. The placement check isn't the same. What? Isn't the same code as the planner code that selects door placement. Okay, look at that at least. FAF 256 is floor around floor flags, and there are 256 permutations of that. Interesting stuff. Science for user campaigns. Multiple parallel attempts. Well, no. Try and alternate 3. Ooh. There's an experimental third-person replay tracker, so you can actually see the player. It's a camera that tracks the player, which is cool. It's no promises. It's cool, but it would. I have some ideas about better replay viewing also anyway. So, and timer.